Hi everybody, and welcome to Josiah is Right. So I have Penny with me, and she is dressed like a stormtrooper. Now Disney owns stormtroopers now, so what we're going to talk about is the worst Disney movies ever. So these are the movies that Penny should probably avoid. So these are the 5 absolute worst Disney movies you'll ever see, according to my friends. I like some of them. At least one of them. 5. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Apparently, an executive decided to adapt this not after reading the novel, but the classics illustrated comic book adaptation. The film marks the end of the Disney Renaissance that began in 1989 with The Little Mermaid. Although, like most of the films on this list, it's quite good, as it's a bit more dark and a bit more adult. It is also the most overtly religious Disney animated film, although it's significantly less religious than the source material. Fans of Victor Hugo felt it was too soft, Disney fans thought it was too scary. 4. The Aristocats. Only 2 into this list and already our second film set in Paris, with the concept essentially being 101 Dalmatians but with cats instead of dogs, and Paris instead of London. Personally, I'm a dog person. Nothing against cats though. It was originally developed for Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color and then expanded to a feature at Walt's urging, making it the last Walt Disney approved film to be released. Like The Jungle Book, character personalities were developed based on the cast, but just not quite as good. Likewise, the plot feels more disconnected. Not bad, it just doesn't stand out. Finally, it was the last film with the Sherman brothers on staff, although they did return many years later for the Tigger movie, though they didn't win an Oscar for that movie. 3. Treasure Planet. Firmly in the post-Renaissance, Disney didn't know what to do with itself. The film pushed the combination of 2D traditional and 3D computer animation to the absolute limit, maybe a bit too far. It featured a brilliant score by James Newton Howard, and significantly less than brilliant songs by the Goo Goo Dolls. It was, that was just the end of the 90s, so these things happen. It was actually nominated for Best Animated Feature and is visually interesting, just not particularly memorable. 2. The Princess and the Frog. Finally, at long last, the Renaissance is back. Disney has returned to traditional hand-drawn animation, with the directors of The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. For those reasons, this movie was doomed to fail. It just couldn't live up to the expectations, to the hype. They haven't done traditional animation since. With their return to traditional animation for this film, many fired animators had to be rehired thanks to John Lasseter, who reversed the studio's decision to do only 3D, a decision they made largely due to Pixar and Lasseter's digital success. Disney's desire to have an African-American princess also brought criticism during the development process. So like everyone in times of trouble, they turned to Oprah. Reviews were good. They mentioned how it carried the torch of traditional animation, but the box office failure essentially killed 2D animation. So that torch was extinguished right then and there. Even Frozen was originally going to be 2D, but they had to let it go. 1. The Black Cauldron. Oh, this pains me, the agony. This is among my personal favorite Disney films. However, apparently most of my friends do not feel the same way. Tim Burton actually did character designs for the film, which were rejected. The studio wanted a modern Snow White, not Tim. A film of many firsts, the first PG rating, and the first film to use CGI, but it earned only half of its $44 million budget. Unlike most of the other films on this list, reviews were not so good. It performed so poorly Disney absolutely buried the film under a giant pile of Aladdin and Lion King clamshells, not releasing it on VHS until 1998. Development originally began in 1973, but it got pushed back and back and back and back and back. A test screening full of horrified children resulted in the film, ready for a 1984 release, being pushed back yet again to make it significantly less terrifying thanks to Jeffrey Katzenberg. However, those changes made it a bit choppy, particularly the end. So those are the worst 5 movies ever, according to my friends and family, and someday, Penny, you'll watch those anyway, because they're Disney movies, and you will just see them because they will be jammed down your eyeballs. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We will see you later. Good girl.